Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. In today's video, we're going to continue our series of leaks about One Piece chapters, and this time we're going to talk about the events that will occur in chapter 1052, the beginning of a new era for Wano and a new enemy emerging. But before we dive into the leaks, if you're new to the channel, we'd be absolutely honored if you consider leaving us a like, or even subscribing with a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and motivates us to make more content. And if you'd like to help us out in a bigger way, consider sharing the video or the channel with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into these leaks. Please remember that these are just leaks and we don't have confirmation of some of the events that may really take place the way we think. Besides, these are just the first leaks and we don't have much more than just what has initially been leaked. So please take this with a grain of salt, but also know that we'll have other videos this week that will have more details as the leaks come out throughout our week together. In this leak, we learn what happened to the people that were in the magnificent battle that went down in Onigashima, what fate each of them will follow now that Kaido has been defeated, and about the new enemy that is going to Wano that is gonna start up some great conflict again. As we do in all these leak videos, before going in depth on each topic, we're gonna go ahead and outline the overview of topics that we can expect in the overall chapter of 1052. So starting off our list of topics, we know that chapter 1052 is gonna be called New Morning. Our cover story shows the Germa siblings meeting up with Caesar. Zunisha seems to be leaving because, of course, the borders of Wano are going to remain closed at least for a little while. Hawkins reveals in a conversation with Drake that he meant himself when he said that there was a person that only had a 1% chance of survival. Now, many of the different people in the community have talked about, is it Luffy, is it Kaido, is it Zoro, but it should be revealed that it was actually Hawkins who was the 1% person. Now, Hawkins predicted Kaido's defeat with his cards, but did not commit any other betrayal because of his pride, and he wanted to stand as the person that he was. This chapter picks up 7 days after the conflict and battle have been over in Onigashima. We see progress being made in the land of Wano, and a great change seems to be taking place. Next, we'll talk about Apu and Inibi seem to have made up somehow and made an alliance. We then see Ashura and Izo lose their lives during the conflict against Maha. There's some comedy and some fan service scenes, including Yamato and the Straw Hats, and it seems that Ryokugyu is on his way to Wano. Well, now we've talked about all of the different topics in this chapter. We're going to take each one in detail and talk about what we might expect and how this might play out in the chapter. The chapter, of course, is called New Tomorrow, so we're going to see that Wano is not under the control, of course, of Orochi or Kaido, and it's this new beginning under Momonosuke that is leading the citizens of Wano to a better life. Picking up the story 7 days after our battle on Onigashima, it seems that most people have managed to recover after the battle, but some enemies are also recovering so that they can leave Wano. While the allies are recovering and talking about their next goals, we get to learn a little bit more about each of the fate of the characters who are still alive after this amazingly huge battle. The leaks then go on to say that Zunisha ends up leaving Wano because the borders have not yet been opened. Now, it's not exactly known what this phrase may represent, and we don't know if she left Wano to continue walking eternally around the oceans, or if Zunisha just left to be near the border and stay near the country of Wano when things are going to open up, because I'm sure Momo would have kind of explained to Zunisha what was going to be going on with the opening of the borders. So in this case, we can only wait for more leaks to really properly know what might have happened to Zunisha. But it's at least very likely Zunisha is probably going to stick around Wano just to be available should things happen or they be needed to open up the borders. The first conversation that is covered in the leaks is, of course, Hawkins' conversation with X-Train. And Hawkins reveals this kind of Oda-like twist where it was Hawkins, who only had the 1% chance of surviving that fight. So it ended up not being a prediction for, say, Law or Luffy or Kid or, others that had been speculated since the 1% kind of thing happened in the manga. Now, Hawkins also says that he foresaw Kaido's defeat with his different cards, but he didn't try to betray Kaido because he wanted to stay at least allied to him until he was able to break his allegiance. And also, it was too dangerous to go against Kaido's order, is because there were many that would easily take the life of a traitor. So to keep himself safe and see how fate played out, and keep himself, of course, safe from Kaido, Hawkins chose to stay by his side to see how this would all play out during the fight. And this way, he would neither lose his life nor really suffer any punishment should his prediction be wrong. And of course, if Kaido were to pull out a win, he would never be seen as a traitor going against Kaido. With Momonosuke's leadership and of course all of the great hope that he kind of inspires in the country, we see that Wano is once again becoming a prosperous land, and people are proud and happy and are are busy just kind of taking the place and turning it around. We see that the factories are starting to get destroyed, and slowly but surely, the flora and fauna of Wano is going to be able to exist again. And this rebuilding and rebirth isn't just going on in the center of Wano, but all around the flat capital. There are scenes where we see that hunger and poverty is going away, and we see that animals are starting to come back, and fish and plants, because all of this had just been destroyed by all of the weapons factories and just the, kind of neglected misuse under Orochi and Kaido. But with the changes that Momonosuke is making, it's going to allow Wano to once again become a place with just unbelievable diversity and, lush greens, all these things that we saw in the various flashbacks we've got. And this would also allow, of course, these poor people to get food in a fair way and to make sure that everybody doesn't go without the way it's been these last many years. In the next scene, we're supposed to see that Apu and Enibi, who were once enemies during the battle at Onigashima, have seemed to made up and made an alliance for a possible future adventure that they could go do together. Now, we don't really know why Apu is doing this, or if he's just, again, looking for an ally so he's not alone. We still really don't have his full objective. Before being captured by Kaido, several of the pirates of the worst generation, including Kid, Apu, and Hawkins, had made an alliance to defeat Shanks, and that was really the main goal of those three pirates. While they were putting their plan together and kind of making way towards a possible location where they might actually run into Shanks, something very large fell right in front of the three of them, and before they realized what it was, of course, it was Kaido. This, of course, relates back to the scene where Kaido kind of basically jumps from a sky island and is trying to take his life by just kind of falling to his death. And basically, when he kind of stands up in front of the three, he basically kind of takes them and just says, well, either you can lose or you can, roll under me. And we know how that ended up playing out. So it could be, since the plan to defeat Shanks really hadn't fully been realized, it might be that Apu was looking out to recruit new members who could still help him complete this plan, because he's gonna need some powerful allies, because obviously his old ones may no longer want to defeat another Yonko right away. So it may be that if Apu wants to carry this forward, he's gonna have to find some other people to really connect with to make that plan move forward. We also remember that although the alliance of pirates, samurai, ninjas, mink, and everybody involved that were able to defeat Kaido and Big Mom and the pirates, both sides suffered many losses. And of course, we also lost Ashura and Izo, who ultimately lost their lives in the battle of this conflict at Onigashima. But even though they're gone, it's obvious that they were absolutely instrumental, because had there just been one person, even less than what they had, the whole plan may not have actually come together. So we gotta acknowledge that, even though there are those sacrifices, and yeah, okay, our side won, that wasn't without losses. Just consider the feats. I mean, Ashura managed to stop Kanjuro so that there were no more losses and everything there. And of course, Izo managed to defeat most of CP0 so that they couldn't escape or, of course, capture Nico Robin, which was their main objective. Just considering those two contributions, I don't think this fight could have turned out any other way. It was necessary, especially the part where it comes to CP0, because we could be looking at a very different result, because okay, yeah, we might have taken down Kaido, but we also could have lost Robin. So we have to really, consider the contribution. Moving on, in this leak, we also got some information about Yamato, and of course, he's still with the Straw Hats, and apparently everyone's getting along very well, and are so really very happy to be together. It also goes on to say that there are some making jokes that were created by us One Piece fans. Now, we don't necessarily know what jokes made the cut, but it seems like they're having a lot of fun after they managed to help the country of Wano, and just seeing in the short 7 days what has been able to be accomplished now that Kaido and Big Mom are no longer in the picture. And with all the joy, we have to remember that this has got to be ultimately for the people of Wano and everyone involved. I mean, it's got to be bittersweet. It's amazing that they've gotten free, but there's also still so much work and rebuilding and refeeding. I mean, let's be real about all those who had been starving, especially in Ibiza Town. So as we go ahead, it still seems that although people are happy and rejoicing, it's not the time to throw the end of Skypiea giant, fire dancing thing yet. It may be a little bit while there's a recovery. But we also have to acknowledge, going into our last little bit, is that a big threat is still to come. And even though the battle in Wano is, kind of finishing its end, one of the biggest enemies of pirates is going directly to Wano. And in this leak, we got the confirmation that Admiral Ryokugyu, also known as Green Bull, is going directly to Wano. After this, once he gets there, we will finally get to see the true identity of Ryokugyu Ryukugyu, who we've only really seen in silhouette, what his powers are, what he intends to do to Wano now that this big battle is over, and what he may intend for the Straw Hats. So for now, all we can do is wait for the other leaks that come out this week. That'll give us a little bit more information about what is going to happen in these next several chapters. But for now, friends, what do you think about it? What are you looking forward to in these next few chapters? Talking about Green Bull or Ryukugyu, what do you think his powers are going to be? I mean, there's been a lot of discussion out in the community. And also, what do you think we're going to see kind of with the Pooh's Alliance, and what do you think we're going to kind of see moving forward? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And as we wrap up the video, I want to thank you all so much for watching all the way to the very end. Make sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, if you made it this far, give us a like or maybe hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. Hope to see you all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.